Have you ever noticed how the morning can feel like a battlefield? The alarm rings, and in that moment, you stand at a crossroads, stay hidden beneath the comfort of blankets, or rise to meet the day. This tiny decision, repeated daily, quietly shapes the destiny of your life. The Stoics knew this truth. Greatness is never born from comfort, but from the discipline to begin when the world still sleeps. Think about the mornings when you press snooze, convincing yourself 5 more minutes wouldn't matter. Hours later, the day slipped away in distraction. Now contrast that with the times you rose early, moved your body, or faced your hardest task before anyone else stirred. The difference is not luck, not genius, but sheer self-mastery. The first act of your morning is a contract with yourself, and breaking it weakens your own trust. 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius faced mornings heavy with duty, ruling an empire, yet he wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive." For the Stoics, mornings were sacred, a time to set the tone of thought and action. They understood that discipline is not punishment, it is liberation. To command your morning is to command your mind, and to command your mind is to command your life. In this video, we will explore 7 timeless Stoic principles that will help you build unshakable discipline. From mastering your emotions to reframing obstacles, from embracing hardship to reflecting on mortality, each lesson is a tool forged by history and proven by time. By the end, you will not only understand Stoicism, you will feel empowered to live it. Discipline is not chains, it is wings. Let us begin the journey. Principle 1. Morning Victory Principle. The first Stoic law of discipline is simple yet profound. Win your morning, and you win your day. The Stoics believe that the way you rise defines the way you live. Most people start with distraction, scrolling through messages, drowning in noise, surrendering before the battle even begins. But the disciplined person uses the early hours as sacred ground. These moments are not for chaos, but for clarity. Your morning routine is not about perfection. It is about proof that your word to yourself matters. Seneca once wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." The early morning is not just a routine, it is a declaration of who you are becoming. Marcus Aurelius did not begin his day with whispers from courtiers or the noise of an empire. He began with his own thoughts. To start the day in reflection, in movement, or in deep work is to tell yourself, "I am stronger than ease. I choose growth over comfort." Imagine 2 people. One wakes and clings to comfort, scrolling endlessly until time slips away. The other rises, breathes deeply, trains their body, or writes their thoughts before the world even stirs. Their destinies begin to diverge, not in one day, but over years. Like a river redirected by a single stone, the smallest consistent act reshapes the flow of life. The Stoics knew that mornings are not about achievement, but identity. Each dawn, you decide, will I remain a slave to comfort, or will I forge myself anew? To practice the morning victory principle, you do not need hours of rituals. What matters is consistency and meaning. Make your bed without hesitation. Move your body for 10 minutes. Write 3 lines of gratitude. The action itself is less important than keeping the promise to yourself. Each morning, you are casting a vote for the person you wish to become. The Stoics remind us, character is not forged in rare moments of greatness, but in the daily fire of discipline. Begin tomorrow and begin strong. Principle 2. Emotional responsibility. The second Stoic law of discipline is emotional responsibility, mastering how you respond, not what happens. Most people live as emotional slaves. One insult ruins their day, one delay sparks anger, one silence fuels anxiety. But the Stoics taught that between stimulus and response lies choice. In that small space lives your freedom. Discipline is not about suppressing feelings, but about guiding them. True strength comes when you no longer hand your peace over to circumstance. Epictetus, once a slave, declared, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." He endured chains, humiliation, and hardship, yet no one could chain his mind. This insight is the heartbeat of Stoicism, Nothing outside can break you unless you consent. You cannot command the world, but you can command your interpretation. And in that mastery lies invincibility. Picture two people stuck in traffic. One curses, fumes, and carries frustration into the rest of the day. The other breathes, accepts, and uses the moment to reflect or listen to wisdom. Same event, two realities. The Stoics understood this secret. Suffering is not in the event, but in the story we attach to it. By reshaping the story, we reshape our lives. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by betrayal and war, trained himself daily to see meaning where others only saw chaos. To practice emotional responsibility, begin with awareness. When irritation rises, pause. Ask yourself, what story am I telling? Is this anger useful? Is this fear real? Choose the disciplined response, not the reactive one. You can feel emotion without becoming its prisoner. The Stoics remind us, very little is needed for a happy life. It is all within your thinking. Every calm response is a vote for your inner fortress, a wall that no insult, delay, or failure can shake. Principle 3. Mastery of the now. The third Stoic law of discipline is mastery of the present moment. Most people live anywhere but now, regretting yesterday, fearing tomorrow, or drowning in endless distraction. But the Stoics remind us, life is never in the past or the future. It is only here, in this instant. When you command your attention, you command your life. To be fully present is not weakness. It is the highest discipline. For in presence, clarity sharpens, peace deepens, and your choices become truly your own. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." For an emperor leading armies and governing an empire, this was no small advice. He understood that fear belongs to the future and regret to the past, but power lives only now. This reminder is not philosophy for bookshelves. It is a tool for survival. To master the present is to hold steady while others scatter, to focus while others drift, to live while others only dream. Think of the times you felt most alive, absorbed in conversation, lost in creating, fully immersed in effort. In those moments, there was no past or future, only now. Modern psychology calls it flow, but the Stoics lived it as discipline. They knew a scattered mind is like a computer with too many tabs open, drained and unfocused. Yet when attention anchors to the present, even simple acts, walking, breathing, working, become rich with meaning. Presence transforms existence into life. To apply this principle, practice catching your drifting mind. When fear pulls you to the future, return to your breath. When regret drags you backward, anchor in gratitude for this moment. Ask, what is the most important thing I can do right now? Then do it fully. Eat with attention, speak with presence, work with focus. Discipline is not only in the grand battles, but in choosing presence over distraction. For he who owns the present owns his life. Principle 4. Turning barriers into breakthroughs. The fourth Stoic law of discipline is transformation, turning barriers into breakthroughs. Most people see obstacles as walls meant to stop them. The Stoics saw them as weights meant to strengthen them. Discipline is forged not in comfort, but in resistance. The question is not why me, but what is this shaping in me? Every challenge carries a hidden invitation to grow. To live as a Stoic is to see trials not as detours, but as the very road forward. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." These words are not poetry, but survival strategy. He ruled during plagues, invasions, and betrayal, yet saw each crisis as material for strength. The obstacle is not separate from the path, it is the path. When you stop resisting resistance, you discover its gift, resilience. What blocks you today is preparing you for tomorrow's victory. Imagine an athlete who suffers a devastating injury. To some, it is the end. To the disciplined, it is the forge. They use recovery to grow tougher, sharper, more patient. Or think of an entrepreneur rejected again and again. Each no sharpens their vision until one yes changes everything. The Stoics were masters of this reframe. Hardship is not punishment, but preparation. Struggle is not an interruption, but a teacher shaping who you are becoming. To apply this principle, reframe each barrier. Instead of "this is terrible," say "this is training." Instead of "I can't handle this," say "this is preparing me." The disciplined mind extracts wisdom from wounds and courage from setbacks. Begin today. Treat difficulty as your mentor. See rejection as refinement, loss as instruction, and hardship as sacred ground for growth. When you embrace obstacles as opportunities, you stop surviving life. You start transforming through it. Principle 5. Choosing hardship on purpose. The fifth Stoic law of discipline is choosing hardship on purpose. Most people design their lives to avoid discomfort. Perfect temperature, instant food, endless entertainment. But comfort dulls the edge of the soul. The Stoics understood that voluntary discomfort builds resilience. By stepping into challenge willingly, you prepare for storms before they arrive. Discipline is not waiting for pain to find you. It is training in discomfort so that when life tests you, you are already unshakable. Seneca, one of Rome's wealthiest men, often lived as if he had nothing. He wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, asking yourself all the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" He knew that by rehearsing poverty, wealth could no longer enslave him. True freedom comes not from avoiding hardship, but from mastering it. Imagine a modern entrepreneur who fasts once a week, not out of necessity, but to strengthen discipline. Or an athlete who showers in cold water daily to sharpen resilience. These choices seem small, yet they forge inner steel. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, rehearsing misfortune. If you can endure discomfort in practice, you will endure it in reality. Hardship becomes less frightening when you have already walked through it by choice. To live this principle, choose the harder path regularly. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Embrace the cold shower. Walk instead of driving. Skip indulgence once in a while. Each act is training for life's unpredictability. Voluntary hardship is not punishment, it is preparation. The more you practice discomfort, the less it controls you. The Stoics remind us, freedom is not getting everything you want, but wanting less. In hardship freely chosen, you discover unbreakable strength. Principle 6. The Mortality Mirror. The sixth Stoic law of discipline is the mortality mirror, remembering that life is finite. Most people live as if time were endless, delaying dreams, avoiding hard truths, wasting hours on distractions. But the Stoics faced mortality head-on. They knew that awareness of death is not morbid, it is liberating. When you realize your days are numbered, you stop wasting them. Each morning becomes a gift. Each choice gains urgency. Discipline sharpens when you live as if today could be your last. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do, say, and think. This was not despair, it was discipline. By reflecting on death, he burned away the trivial and held fast to what mattered most. For the Stoics, memento mori was not a curse but a compass. It guided them to live fully, love deeply, and act with urgency, because tomorrow was never promised. Consider the man who postpones his dreams, saying he will begin someday. Then tragedy strikes, and someday never comes. Contrast him with the one who lives with mortality in mind, who writes the book, speaks the truth, forgives the wound, embraces the loved one today. The Stoics believe that fearing death is really fearing an unlived life. To reflect on mortality is to reclaim urgency, to strip away illusions, and to live while you still have the chance. To apply the mortality mirror, start each day with this thought: if today were my last, would I live it well? Let that guide your choices. End the day by asking, did I honor my values? Did I waste time on the trivial, or did I live with intention? This practice is not about fearing death, but about empowering life. When you live with mortality in mind, you stop postponing meaning. You choose purpose over distraction, urgency over delay, and life over sleepwalking. Principle 7. Power through imagined loss. The seventh Stoic law of discipline is the power of imagined loss. Most people run from the thought of losing what they love, fearing it will break them. But the Stoics embraced it as training. By envisioning misfortune, they grew stronger, more grateful, and more prepared. This practice, called premeditatio malorum, is not about pessimism, it is about resilience. When you picture loss, you strip away illusions of control, and in their place, you gain gratitude and strength. Epictetus taught his students, when you kiss your child goodnight, remind yourself they may not be here tomorrow. This was not coldness, it was love sharpened by reality. By imagining loss, you deepen your appreciation for what you have. The Stoics understood that clinging leads to fear, but awareness of impermanence leads to presence. To prepare for hardship is not to invite sorrow, but to cultivate unshakable love and inner strength. Imagine a woman who fears losing her job. Every day the fear eats at her until the day comes, and she is shattered. Contrast her with another who has rehearsed the possibility. She has already envisioned how she would adapt, who she would lean on, and what she would create. When the loss comes, it still hurts, but it does not destroy her. The Stoics practiced this mental rehearsal, building what psychologists today call a psychological immune system. To apply this principle, dedicate moments each week to imagine loss, not to create fear, but to awaken gratitude and resilience. Visualize losing health, wealth, or someone you cherish. Then ask, how would I respond? What inner strength would I call upon? This practice shrinks fear's power and expands gratitude for what remains. By rehearsing misfortune, you do not become fragile, you become anti-fragile. Loss will come, but it will not break you. Instead, it will reveal the strength already within. We have walked through 7 Stoic principles: winning the morning, mastering emotions, living in the present, turning obstacles into opportunities, choosing hardship, remembering mortality, and imagining loss. Together, they form a framework for true discipline. The Stoics remind us that discipline is not chains, it is freedom. It is the power to remain steady when the world shakes, the strength to choose growth over ease, and the wisdom to live with intention. Now it is your turn. Discipline is not learned in words, but forged in action. Choose one principle and live it for 30 days. Rise early and claim your mornings. Or pause before reacting in anger. Or reflect daily on mortality. Do not wait for the perfect time, start now. Each disciplined choice is a brick in the fortress of your character. The world does not need more comfort seekers. It needs more resilient souls who lead with virtue and strength. Here is your exercise. Tonight, write one promise to yourself. Just one. Perhaps to wake earlier, to reflect before reacting, or to embrace a small discomfort. Then keep it tomorrow. And the next day. The Stoics believe philosophy is not for bookshelves, but for life. Each fulfilled promise is proof that you are no longer a prisoner of comfort. You are the architect of your destiny. Begin small, but begin today. Remember this: discipline is not about denying life. It is about living it fully. Each time you choose effort over ease, you become closer to your highest self. Each time you honor Stoic wisdom, you step into freedom. This is Stoic Miracles. Stay steadfast, stay courageous, and above all, stay disciplined. For in discipline lies your unshakable fortress. Until next time, build your inner empire.